Back again with another Bond review, and today we're going to talk about and rant on Die Another Day. But yeah, you know it's bad when the jacket comes off. So even the sun, it was out a minute ago, but now it wants to go back in the clouds because the sun wants to hide from this movie. But yeah, Die Another Day, it's a bad movie. It's a bad Bond film. Now to sort of backtrack real quick, GoldenEye is my favorite, and it's going to be my number one favorite when I break down my top 15. Love GoldenEye. Tomorrow Never Dies. Entertaining Bond film. Great cast. Great support from Michelle Yeoh. Terry Hatcher. Jonathan Pryce was a good villain. Really interesting plot, especially when you look at it now. I love Tomorrow Never Dies. The World Is Not Enough to me is a mediocre Bond film. I don't think Michael Apted, even though he's directed some good movies before, I don't think he was the right choice to direct a Bond film. And it's just so many things could have been better. And some of the cast, Denise Richards, I don't buy her as a scientist. I think the villain, Robert Carlyle, he's done other movies where I don't mind him, but I don't think he was the greatest choice to play that type of villain that feels no pain. Like, I could think of other actors that could have pulled it off better, that could have displayed that, aspect better, even though I like the idea. But, yeah, The World Is Not Enough, to me, it's just a mediocre Bond film. And when you get to this movie, Die Another Day, it's just, it really goes off the cliff. GoldenEye started off strong. Tomorrow Never Dies. You're still going strong. The World Is Not Enough. It's like, okay, you can see the waterfall coming up ahead. And Die Another Day, you're just off. You go off the waterfall. Like in this movie, like in the beginning, that waterfall scene. You go down the waterfall. Now the plot, I'll just get the plot of the way real quick. Just so I can get that over with and I can talk about the film. But you have Pierce Brosnan, he's back as Bond, and he's given one last mission here. You see him in North Korea in the beginning, and he's betrayed and captured. And I like some of the stuff in the beginning, like in the pre-title stuff where he's captured and tortured by the North Koreans. And it was interesting. It was more of a darker setup. Like, okay, you wonder what's going to happen next. Later on, because he's being tortured, and you see Bond with the long hair and beard. But yeah, you wonder, okay, where's this going? Because this is more of a darker, again, setup for the character, and I liked where this is going. And then you get the Bond theme. I'm like, okay, we're in trouble now. I did not care for the Bond theme by Madonna. I can't remember the words. I can't remember anything about it. It was that bad. It was that crappy. It was just a very crappy hip hop Bond theme, and I'm like, okay, so this is what we're in for. Once that Bond theme hits, once the Bond theme starts in the movie. I'm like, okay, this is where we're going here. We're in deep here. But getting back to the plot real quick, Bond is set free. After a year, he's being traded for Zhao, played by Rick Yune, who was captured by MI6. And when Bond is back, he sets off to track the villain here. And Bond gets caught up in yet another scheme where he sends this millionaire, played by Toby Stevens, who's really our main villain here. And the whole thing with him is that his character is into genetic gene conversion, gene therapy, where he tries to alter his appearance or something like that. Again, it's about gene therapy, conversion, but he's a millionaire type. And you have this other character, Miranda Frost, played by Rosamund Pike. She's another agent for MI6. And she's posing as a friend of the villain here. And Bond is invited by Graves. Um, and that's when you sort of get into his plot that involves a satellite found in space that has a huge laser beam, and Bond must stop, our villain here, and like even early on in the film, which I didn't mention with Rick Yune's character, because it involves these diamonds, and something happens where there's this bomb in a suitcase with the diamonds and it explodes. So these diamonds are infused in this guy's face, Rick Yune's face. So his face is infused with these diamonds. And, but also you have Halle Berry's character in the film, her character of Jinx. And she's an American agent that teams up with Bond to stop our villains here. And that's kind of the plot. And I know I've kind of skipped around a little bit in describing the plot, but yeah, this movie is just a bad movie. I mean, let's talk about the cast real quick, and then I'll talk about some other stuff about the movie. Actually, I'll mention the director first, Lee Tamahori. Now, prior to this, he directed The Edge, which is a really good movie. Anthony Hopkins and Adam Baldwin. Is that? I think about the wrong Baldwin. Alec. See what this movie does? It messes with your brain. It makes you think of the Baldwin brothers. And I think even Adam Baldwin is a relative. I think about the wrong Baldwin. See, this movie just. But yeah, the same director who directed The Edge, which is a really good movie. You had Anthony Hopkins in that and Alec Baldwin, not Adam Baldwin, not the guy from Predator 2, but Alec Baldwin. Yeah, really good movie, The Edge. He also would go on to direct Along Came a Spider, and unfortunately, Triple X State of the Union with Ice Cube. Next, Nicolas Cage, he directed that. And so, again, I like The Edge. I haven't seen Along Came a Spider, but I've seen a little bit of the film. And I don't know what he was thinking here with this movie. And again, it's kind of the thing with, Michael Appt, when I talked about him directing The World Is Not Enough. Like, I don't think he was right for that. I don't think he was fit for a Bond movie. And here, with this director, I mean, he's directed some other stuff that I haven't seen, but I have seen The Edge. Along Came a Spider, I've seen a little bit of, but Triple X State of the Union, I haven't seen Next with Nicolas Cage, but it seems like he's, to me, directed better movies. I don't know what happened here. So I don't know, I don't know if another director would have been able to come in and fix this movie, because to me, this movie is just bad. But I'll get more into that. Now, the cast, Pierce Brosnan, again, he's not the problem here. The World Is Not Enough is a mediocre movie. It's a mediocre Bond film. But, again, at least the constant, Pierce Brosnan throughout these movies, he's not bad. He can't save this movie, but he's trying. Halle Berry, I know it seems like her character gets crap as one of the worst, or, Bond girls, what have you. I didn't mind her in the movie. I think that if her character was given better material, or if you had a better director, maybe, again, if her character was given better material, what have you, better written, I don't know, I just think that I like Halle Berry. I think she was fine in the film. I mean, obviously, I much prefer her in other movies, whether it be X-Men, what have you. But I don't think the material helped her. But that's just me. You have the villain of Gustav, played by Toby Stephens. And I didn't really care for this villain, Toby Stephens. I don't know what else he's been in. But the whole thing about where his character's into, gene therapy and gene conversion, I didn't really care about that. I don't think he was the right choice for a villain. You have Rosamund Pike as Miranda Frost. She was okay. You have the character of Zhao, played by Rick Yune. And I've seen Rick Yune before. He was in The Fast and the Furious, Ninja Assassin. But, yeah, he was... The look of the character where the diamonds are infused in his face. I mean, I don't know what they were going for there, but it's a unique look. But I don't know if... and that's kind of getting into the cartoonish, elements of this movie. Between the action. I don't know what they were thinking with that look. Of having... I mean, it's a cool looking, makeup. Cool looking makeup with the diamonds are infused in the villain's face, but I don't know if it really works for a Bond movie. I don't know. And I'll get more into that. But Judi Dench is good here again. John Cleese. It's weird because he goes by the character of R in The World Is Not Enough, but here he's going by the character of Q. I know it's Q Branch, but still, John Cleese, he doesn't really belong in these movies. I like John Cleese a lot, but it's a square peg in a round hole when it comes to John Cleese in these Bond movies. Talented, actor, and I like John Cleese, but he just doesn't, for me, he doesn't do anything for me in these movies. Michael Madsen, it's cool to see him. He has a little bit here to do, but overall, I mean, the cast, again, Brosnan's not the problem. He's still good. Halle Berry, I think if her character was given a little bit better material, she would have been, I think it would have helped her a little bit more, but I still like her in the film. Again, I didn't really care for the Gustav character, Toby Stevens. I didn't think he was that great of a villain. Rosamund Pike, she was there. Rick Yune, he was there. A unique look for the villain, but I don't know if it really worked for a Bond movie. So, I mean, the cast is there. The action scenes, to me, the way the film's set up was more interesting than the actual action that would happen later. Because once you get into the action throughout the movie, that's where it really gets into the goofy elements and, some of the silliness of this movie. Now, I mean, you got, for example, where you got the scene where the car's on the ice, because in this movie you have a lot of snowy locations and ice around and stuff. So you have one scene where the car's on ice, and the villain uses the laser beam from the satellite to take out Bond. And this is kind of where you see some bad CGI. Then the car goes off the cliff, and then the car's kind of hanging from the cliff, and the laser beam takes out the cliff, and then starts a big wave in the water below, and Bond drops down below, and you have a really bad scene where Bond is wakeboarding, or whatever you call it, on these waves, and you can tell it's all bad CGI. And there's some stuff later on, this plane, you get some action in the plane, that was okay. But again, some other stuff where, and I know I'm kind of skipping around the action, but there's this fight between Bond and this guy, where Halle Berry's character's tied down, and you got these lasers kind of shooting everywhere. I don't know, I thought that was a little bit silly. That portion of the film, that little bit of action where Bond is fighting this guy, and these laser machines are going off and shooting lasers around, and Halle Berry's tied down in a chair and being spun around, and she's making these jokes and stuff. That portion of that I didn't really care for. I like some of the bits where Bond is in the car in this ice palace, and he's going around the ice palace, and he's being chased around. That was okay. See, like I said, I mean, the sun wants to hide. Now it's coming back out. Make up your mind, son. I know you don't like this movie, but are you trying to hide? What are you trying to do? So I like the stuff with the car going around in the ice palace. But the action, again, it kind of, again, this is where you get into, just silly stuff with the action. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what, because at this point, I'm trying to think, did the studios just, were they losing faith in Pierce Brosnan, or did Brosnan want it out? I mean, what do you think happened here with this movie? Like, why did this end up being what it ended up being? For people out there that have seen this movie, that you know what I'm talking about. Like, what is your, for people out there that have seen this movie, and I'm not saying that it's completely without some decent parts, because I like the stuff in the beginning. Action, while it can be silly at times and goes a little bit too far in the realm of bad CGI and Bond on the wakeboard and stuff like that. I mean, it's almost, I'm trying to figure out what happened here. Like, what happened with this movie that it resulted in this? Was it the director? Was it the studios that maybe around this time? Because this is sort of a thought that I had. Because you think about this year, 2002, at this time you had Spider-Man that, was coming out. You had, the Star Wars prequels still going. I wonder if part of it was, and I haven't really read too much into like the development of this movie and trivia, backstory, what have you. But I wonder if a part of it is, the studios were saying, okay, we see, comic movies slowly starting to gain traction, between Spider-Man and X-Men. And it's like, in a way, they're trying to grab on to the sort of new thing of, again, the comic book genre, that they see the writing on the wall, that, okay, this is the direction we need to take, that we need to go into. And I'm not saying that's primarily, why this movie is more comic booky. I'm just spouting a theory here, spouting a thought, that maybe they try to go after that, that comic films, at this time is kind of just starting out, but maybe they see, okay, this is where we need to take Bond, that we need to make it more comic booky, more, that's not even a word, I just made it up. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's more, this has more sci-fi in it than freaking Moonraker. Moonraker has Bond in space, but like, I can believe that more. Like, to me, that's more fun than this. Like, you take Bond to space in Moonraker, but I thought that was done better, more fun. Here it looks more silly with, some of the action scenes. While there might be a couple of scenes of action that I don't mind, but a lot of it is just silly stuff. Bad CGI, a villain that has diamonds infused in his face. I'm like, okay, it's a unique look for a villain, but does it work here? Or would it work in a comic book movie? And I'm trying to think what else to mention here, because, for people who have seen the movie, you know how bad it is. And, I forgot Madonna's in the movie. Yeah, Madonna appears in the film as a fencing instructor. And I like the fight between Bond and the villain when they're doing a little bit of fencing. I do remember that. And they break out the swords, and that was a good fight. That was good. I mean, so it's like, okay, you might get a decent action bit here and there, but I think a lot of it is outweighed by bad CGI. And moments where it just takes it over the top. So, I mean, at the end of the day, again, it's just a bad Bond movie. And it was a big misfire. And it's sad because, Pierce Brosnan to me was a great Bond, but he only did, like I said, 2 really good Bond movies. that I really enjoyed. I can't say that about The World Is Not Enough, and this definitely I can't say. It's a reason why I understand now why this film is crapped on and considered the worst. It's the lowest point in the franchise. And, it would be another 4 years before they would make another one. So, it's sad because, again, I like Pierce Brosnan a lot, and I think that he deserved better. And I don't know what happened here. Again, I don't know if they were just trying to go after what was hot at the time, and they ended up just falling flat on their face. The director, what do you guys think about this one? As far as where, and again, this is me, without looking at information on Wikipedia and what have you. I'm just sort of guessing. I'm theorizing here. What happened with this movie that it resulted in this. But at the end of the day, it's a bad misfire of a movie with a bad Bond theme by Madonna. The action might be a decent bit here and there. I like even the Ice Palace thing is a little bit silly. But I like some of the action in the Ice Palace with the car. Okay, I'll give you that. Some decent stuff on the plane, which would come later on in the film. But a lot of the action is outweighed by, again, bad CGI, what have you. So I could go on and on. I like Brosnan. I don't mind Halle Berry, actually. But overall, it's just a bad movie. It's not the worst film I've ever seen. But that's all I have for now. So thank you for watching. And stay tuned for my review of Casino Royale. Getting into the Daniel Craig era. So look forward to that. My review of Casino Royale. Thank you for watching. And have a good day.